Hello, Comic-Con. How are you? Hey! So, we may have got you here under the pretense that we're going to be discussing Sea of Thieves and the Art of Adventure. We instead decided to have an open, very frank discussion about the decision of Britain to leave the EU, also known as Brexit. Well, not really, obviously. So for those who don't know us, we're from Rare, which is a UK studio. We've been around for 31 years now, which, oh yeah. And we are currently making a wonderful pirate game called Sea of Thieves. So I'm going to introduce you to everyone who is on the panel to start with. Now, our design director, Greg Mayles, who can't be here, unfortunately, when people join the team, he gives everybody their own pirate name. So I'm going to introduce us by pirate name. And then I'm going to get everyone to give you a fact about themselves. Yeah? Unprepared. So, I'm Adam Park, also known as the Damned Park. And my fact is, yeah. So, next up we have Joe Neat, who is also called Three Sheets Neat.
Yes, and that's based on my ability to just drink a lot, basically. Mainly rum, but I'm open to any kind of drinking offers, basically, so see me after the show. Basically.
Joe, yeah, any liquid. It's not just alcohol, look. Yeah. Look at the amount of liquid. Just like... He is cosplaying as Liquid Man. Next up, we have our art director, Ryan Stevenson, also known as... I'll let you... Go on, introduce yourself.
Ryan Scurvyson. So I'm proud of my name. I think I'm the only infected pirate in the company. So, but it's a good one. That's my fact.
And then last up, we have our Scottish delegate, Mr. Peter Hens.
Thank you. Also known as Yo-Ho Hens.
Oh, you made it sound cool.
Got a bit of effort in.
And my favourite fact about Pete is?
I come from a country that's the only country in history to ever vote against its own independence.
So round of applause.
Yes.
Hey!
We're a proud race. A proud race.
Go Scotland. So Rare, over its 31 years, has spent a lot of time kind of on the fringes of making a pirate game. So again, our design director, Greg, has wanted to make a pirate game all of his career. And he is now realising that dream. So right back in kind of 1985, we had stuff like Black Witch, through all of our kind of Donkey Kong, Killer Instinct, we had pirate characters, right up to things like Viva Pinata, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Captain Black Eye up there. So if you know the Rare kind of stable, you'll know pirates are a common thread. And with that, I'm now going to hand you over to Joe, who's going to talk about how that has now gone to Sea of Thieves. So, Joe Neat, everyone.
Cool, so thank you very much. So like Adam says, I'm Joe Neat, and I'm the exec producer on Sea of Thieves. I've been working on it since the very start with Greg. So myself and Greg actually kind of squirreled away into a room quite a long time ago and tried to come up with what was next for Rare, basically. And it's really, really hard to have complete freedom to do what you want and to kind of come up with something, right? To start from nothing, a blank slate. But, you know, we arrived at Sea of Thieves, and obviously we've been working hard on it as a team. And we recently at E3 showed kind of real gameplay for the first time with our real players as well. So it went down really well. So Sea of Thieves, we actually had, I think, 42 different award nominations from E3 itself, and 14 wins. And we also got nominated for, it's pretty impressive. And my head has just grown exponentially since E3. So if I come across as cocky, sorry. But like, it went great for us, right? It was a really exciting time for us to go there and to have the first playable on the show floor, players could play, but also our approach to how we showed off the game in our gameplay trailer. So we actually had 13 kind of fans that we invited to the studio, some competition winners and some people just from our community that were really engaged with us and we knew were kind of huge Rare fans. So we invited them to our studio for 3 weeks before E3 and basically just got them to play the game for the first time. No tutorial, no help, nothing like that. Just threw them in and hoped that they were going to have a really good time and that we'd get some good footage out of it. And so we did. So I think one of those guys is here today as well. So Amir, do you want to stand up briefly? Where is he? There he is. So Amir here is a star of a video that we're about to show you. So I don't know if everyone's seen the gameplay trailer, but we want to just give a bit of a refresh about the game itself. So I'm just going to show that video now, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it.
Hi, everybody. Oh, hello. Here we are. Stay back, ye foul beasts.
There we go, see? That's so cool.
Help me out. More people can do the anchor thing.
Nom 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 nom.
The main mast sails still need to go down.
Oh, they're down.
We're sailing!
Dude, which island are you going to? Which island?
The farthest one in the distance.
Are we emptying it? This was the best idea.
I don't know. I can usually walk a straighter line than this.
Oh my god. Oh, you guys.
Oh, okay. Oh no!
You're gonna hit that rock, dude. You're gonna hit that rock.
I think it's gonna be too tight.
Just go. Just go.
No! You're gonna sink us.
Oh, I found the captain's quarters. This is mine.
Okay, so the sail's blocking my vision, so you're gonna need to tell me where to steer.
I'm looking at the water, Chad. Shut up.
Guys,
We gotta get. Oh! Go to the boat.
Oh my god! Oh no! Raise the anchor! Set the sail! You're leaving me behind! No!
Oh, they're right on top.
Oh no! Whoa! Alright, man the cannon!
They're shooting back.
Die!
Yeah! Okay, Mike, you're repairing, right? We're sinking.
Oh, dude, we're gonna drown. It's water down here.
What do we do? What do we do?
I don't know. Bail.
We're screwed.
We sank up, yeah!
No!
There's a ship to the left.
oh my god.
They're going down, yeah!
Let's go.
Cool. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Not all my own work, but yes, thank you. So, that approach was pretty unique in terms of getting our fans in, being the first people in the world kind of to play the game outside of people at Rare. But we really felt strongly that showing kind of real players playing the game, the kind of authenticity of the actual players having fun in Sea of Thieves was the best way to kind of show this game off. And it was very different to everything else kind of in the Xbox briefing at E3. And if you can kind of imagine, like on the run up to E3 within an organization like Xbox, there's all of these different games that are all being reviewed regularly by like Phil Spencer and all of the kind of Xbox leadership. And we're just kind of turning up each week, kind of going, yeah, we've not got the video yet. And there's like 3 weeks to go before E3, and we're like, no, we're going to get the fans into the studio, and then we're going to record them playing it, and it's going to be great. And everybody was just kind of questioning us and going, is this really the right approach? And the eyebrows were getting raised. But we felt so strongly about it, and ultimately, we were supported in that vision, and it came across really well. So there was some, I guess cynicism about this approach from some people when they saw the trailer. They were like, oh, they paid actors, are they YouTubers, and everything else. But I think the community itself kind of managed that one away. But what we were going to show another video today, actually, that to actually show sort of the most over-the-top reactions that we actually couldn't use because they almost seemed fake, even though they were real. But sadly, the video that was delivered actually had some audio issues. But we will be releasing it as part of the when the video for this goes up, the panel goes up online. We'll get that out there. So apologies that's not here today.
Oh my god, we're playing. You guys, we're playing Sea of Thieves. Holy shit! This just hit me. I can't even. I gotta just like put my controller down for a second.
Look at that little island. Aww.
Aw, cute. I can. Oh my gosh.
Dude, we're paddling so hard. Splash, 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 splash.
John McMurder. What a badass name.
John McMurdo.
And I can see my foot!
Come on. Come on. Whoa! Oh no, they're coming around our other side. Oh, we went the wrong direction.
Oh my god! No!
Oh, they're sinking. Yeah! Woo! Woo! Thank you, Rare. Oh my god.
No! Oh no! Abandoned ship!
Oh, we're sinking. No! Oh!
You're leaving me behind! No! No! No!
We're super excited about where this project is and how we showed up at E3 and the vision for kind of this game moving forward. And I'm really excited as well to introduce Ryan Stevenson, who's our art director, who's now going to really just talk about the art of adventure and why we've kind of taken the approach to this game as we currently have. So yeah, please let's introduce Ryan. Thank you.
In folds of midnight water, side by side, we sons and daughters, we set forth for no king's orders, but we'll sail together. Hold fast, tides are turning, flames roar, burning wheel war, be returning if we sail together.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you about an illustrative approach. So when we started Sea of Thieves, we kind of set ourselves the challenge that we wanted to reimagine a Rare game today using all the knowledge that we kind of built over the years, their approaches that we took, how we make characters, and also embracing all the new technology we had available to us. So we wanted to try and find a style that was going to be unique to us and really spoke to us. And with all Rare games, we have a tendency to be fairly playful and kind of try and be as characterful as possible. So one of the first images that kind of really brought it all together in one, that really kind of said, this is where we need to be going, was this one. So this was kind of like done really early on, and it showed a variety of things that kind of stood out. For instance, the way that the brush marks are kind of seen within the environment, or the way that the environment stages back, so you see these big kind of monolithic rocks in the distance that kind of invite you to go and explore. And also the way that the level of how we've simplified certain things within the world, but yet created interest. And I'll just step through some of those decisions. So the one thing is simplified structure. So we are simplifying kind of the objects within the world, but by putting them together in different kind of combinations, you create that visual complexity that you need. So you're able to kind of have this really nice read without actually making it too noisy. And we're also doing things like visual separation through color and tone. So those two images are it's the same image, but the one on the right there, it's been blurred, so all the inner detail's been removed. But if you kind of squint, it's the best way of saying the squint test. So when you close your eyes really tight and you kind of look at it, you still see what that image is. It still retains it, and that's because we're not getting caught up in kind of really tiny granular detail. We want to make it nice and colourful and interesting, and that's that image kind of large. And that was another image that kind of really cemented our direction. So I mentioned about the kind of brush marks within the environment as well. So, and you can see that within the texture work on the objects. So as you can see here, it just kind of calls out to some of the, where you can see it within the environment. But a really good example of this is one of our kind of treasure chests. So here's a nice treasure chest. There's a bit of concept work, and as you can see, it's got that simplification. There's kind of this detail removed, but it's also got this really nice kind of like painterly quality to the object. And that's something we wanted to capture. So we wanted to make it feel as much like an illustration as we possibly could. So there's the 3D object. So I think that's a really good comparison. And if you actually look at the top of the chest there, you can still see the brush marks. So we've really obsessed about this, to the point of like virtually every single item in the game is heavily concepted to that level. And we really work in great detail. And so it's something that my background is a concept artist. So I'm always about the drawing and kind of the creating. And that was something that I was keen to kind of keep going with Sea of Thieves. It's kind of like a big challenge to take on the team, but it gives such quality with all the items. So the next slide actually shows you more of those objects and kind of like how it all works. So as you can see, there's a level of kind of like sophistication to it, even though we are simplifying elements within it. But these items actually show another thing that's really important to Sea of Thieves, and that's everything can tell a story. So within Sea of Thieves, nothing's brand new. It's all been kind of like reused, or it's been found, or it's kind of like been kind of created in the world out of other bits. And I think that kind of speaks to the idea of being a pirate on the open sea. It's kind of like making do with the things that you've got around you. The pirates don't really go to the brand new pirate shop and get everything off the shelf. There's not this shiny ship that's kind of sailing out there. They're more likely to steal that, and that's going to obviously have a story around that. A really good example of that is with how we approach it. We call it 3 main things. We make things look wonky, we add wear and tear, and we make things have patched and repaired. So wonky, it's the dictionary definition is like askew, uneven, kind of like you sit on a wonky stool, and the idea with that is that, but rather than it just being a stylization where we're distorting an object in an overly cartoony or characterful way, we're actually looking at it from a point of view of making it feel like it's got a history to it. So the rail has been warped by the water and the wear and tear. And that post there, that was a really early post that was done, and it was one of my favorite ones while on the ship, because at the start it was pristine, it was brand new, and it just looked really artificial. It didn't feel like this was a pirate game at all. And that's one of the challenges with doing digital work, is it's really easy to make things look clean. So what happened was the artist went back to it and kind of like added those nicks, and so like a sword mark going through it, and the wear and tear of like people rubbing up against it. And obviously with the patch and repair, as a pirate, you're just going to be going out on the open seas and trying to survive. So it's how that visually looks on a ship. So these are those items, again, with little call-outs to where you can see that within the world. But the really interesting thing for us as well is, not only do we do this to the kind of the ships and the character, well, the objects, but we can also do it to the characters. So here's a nice example. Where that's kind of like one of our pirates. I think you can all say he looks like a fairly decent enough pirate, but the only problem is he looks too clean. He's got no character, he's got no history or sense of adventure to him. So if we apply some of the things we've talked about, like wonk and kind of like wear and tear, and you kind of like, straight away, that's a cooler pirate. He's boring now, he's so dull, but that's cool. He's obviously been through some rough times, but he still looks hardy. We can push this even more. This is quite extreme. So, oh dear. He's had a very rough time out on the open seas. But I imagine he's got some stories to tell. I'm not sure if I'd want to actually sit down and have a drink with him. I think it'd be quite scary. But we applied this. So you can see this with all the characters. So these are the characters that we showed at E3 this year. And these are just like the people that people can play as. So as you can see, they've got that sense of history, and they've got that wear and tear within it. And we've got so much more to share about the characters as well, but we're not actually talking much about characters today, but again, if you look on our social channels, we're going to be starting sharing more of that soon. So the other thing that was really important to Sea of Thieves is the fact that at that moment where we realized we're going to be making this pirate adventure game, you're going to be making a game set on the sea with waves and with sails and with wind and clouds and all that entails. And it realized that it had to be a game about motion. There had to be movement within so much of the game. So the way that we approached everything was that it had to kind of like feel that living kind of quality. So what I can show you is our time of day system. So all games have time of day systems now. You have to have one. So I thought I'd show you ours because it's pretty. So you may have noticed something about that, is that a lot of games, really good kind of cloud systems and sky systems, they do it with textures and kind of it's all very kind of flat, whereas our clouds are actually massive three-dimensional kind of bits of geometry. So the world, they are physical within the world. And there's a nice video that one of our tech artists put together that built the system out. And he had a bit of fun. So these wheels don't control a ship, they control the world. So he's actually changing the pressure, and that brings in clouds. So the more he turns to the left, the more the clouds come into the world and make it more overcast. The nice thing about this as well is that they just light really nicely in the world, and you just feel part of it. It also means we can do some fun things as well. There's lots of wheels within this scene. We can also control our time of day with it. That'd be pretty powerful. So the really interesting thing about the fact that these are large objects is because the way that the system is built is that we can put anything as a cloud. So for instance, if we wanted to have a bit of fun and have, for instance, a large skull come in over an island, we absolutely could. And just like the clouds, it sits within the world and can have that effect. Now there are actually more controls over the side, which means you can actually steer it around the world, which is just playing crazy, but tech guys are really good at doing stuff like that. So what I'm going to show you now is just a video that sums up a lot of what I've talked about with the movement and the world, and I'm just going to let you kind of just watch it. you very much. So we talked a bit about the world, we talked a bit about the style, and as with a lot of Sea of Thieves, we slowly reveal things as we go along. So I'm actually going to show you some of stuff around our ships. So within E3, you saw those ships kind of like sailing around, and they all look quite identical. But we have actually got different looking ships within the game. So it's a nice little kind of special treat for you today. So these are one of our ship models. And we call them liveries as we change them. So it will go through each of the livery of the different ships. So you can see, you can make them visually different through just the kind of the changing of the paintwork and also the insignia of the crew on the ship. And also there are some figureheads on the front of each of those ships. They're a little bit tiny, so I'm going to actually show you some images of that as well. So this is one of the figureheads. So obviously, this is the gold lion. It's kind of like the kind of thing a crew who is all about getting treasure would maybe adorn their ship and be quite proud of it. But as this is Comic-Con, and we've got to give you some exclusives, hopefully there's enough Rare fans to appreciate some of this. So with all Rare games, we always do callbacks to previous titles and try and get in some of those nods to our old games. So this is an exclusive. There you go. There's a new figurehead. Can anyone guess who it is? It's Joe Dark. So each of the figureheads are treated so they fit within the world, but if you know who they are, there's kind of like a little nod to you. There's also another figurehead that I'd like to share with you, which I see if anyone recognises this one. Of course, it's Bear and Bird, Banjo and Kazooie. So those are the characters within the figureheads, and they're quite cool, big, large things that are sculpted in like these big blocks of wood on the front of your ship that you can adorn. So obviously with Sea of Thieves, there is a sea of danger. So we talked about kind of like the world, and also when you go out on these travels, you'll find these kind of scary creatures and things to come up against. So within the cinematic trailer that we showed at E3, there was these skeletons and these characters within it, and the guy at the background there's a big, ominous-looking kind of skeleton, and these groups of skeleton in the foreground. So when we started looking at kind of what we wanted to do, we knew we were a fantasy game, and we wanted to have kind of like skeletal characters. I'm a big kind of Ray Harryhausen fan, and kind of the old films. So the idea around how we were going to be treating these and how they were kind of these kind of like these monstrous skeletons that burst out of the ground to come against you. And they embody everything we've talked about with making things look like wonky and wear and tear, and the way that they kind of just move as well. So here's some animations of them coming out of the ground, and also the way that they hold their hands. So for instance, you may notice he doesn't put his hand down, he uses his arm to come out because his wrists are broken. The way it's pinned to a tree. That's not going to work out for him. And this one's reaching out. You may notice that one of his fingers is slightly broken, the way that he lifts his hand up. And it's this level of detail that we go with everything that we do, and how it all stems from those initial ideas. The way that the character walks, the arms are like fused and broken. And we did run up and down the corridor quite a few times, filming each other, trying to run with a broken leg. And it was quite tough. I actually think someone nearly broke their leg doing it, but there you go. So there's some of the characters obviously, but also the big, ominous, scary-looking character in the background there, with the big sword. That was one of our kind of skelly lords that we've nicknamed. And so within that trailer, you saw one with a big burning chest. There's another one that was made as a sculpt at E3, and here he is here. We've got lots of nicknames for all these characters. We're making them. So this nickname was the Gold Hoarder. So again, this is a skeletal character that he's kind of like, obviously he's quite special. He's slowly making himself into a golden object, with replacing his jaw and his arms slowly changing. So he's obsessed with finding that gold and running around. So that's quite a cool one of our cool models. Also within elements of the trailer for E3, we've got mermaids within the world as well. But we wanted to do something different with our mermaids, because obviously everyone has to have a unique mermaid. But so our mermaids aren't mermaids, they're mer-people. And also, you may notice there's a slight difference in the characters on the screen there. So the top character in the middle, he's got a slightly different tail, from the other ones, and there's a reason why. It's not an accident at all. So I'll show you that as well. So this is the character in a bit more detail that you could have seen in the cinematic trailer. And as you can see, he's slowly going around. So it doesn't look like a normal mer person, but obviously something's happened to this character. And it's just the beginning. So you can see that it's the same character going around, slowly changing. Now, at the start, I think it's not too bad, transformation. You're getting to this point, and I think you're going to be thinking, this is a little bit ominous indeed. So that's kind of the characters within the world as well. And they all adhere to having that kind of stylization and also the way that we do wear and tear. And also, as you all walked in, you should have got one of these, which is the Pirate Lord figure. So it's a Pirate Lord, but he's glow in the dark. So there's a good reason why he's glow in the dark. He's a ghost. Another exclusive. So yes, we do have ghosts in Sea of Thieves. And also, if you keep it mint in box, you won't really see. But he has actually got knives in his back as well. So you can see what actually happened to this poor character. Yeah. So you've got to keep it mint in box. That's quite cruel. So that was something that we wanted to make sure as well. So these were characters that you may have seen in the E3 2015. We had some pirate characters running around, and you can obviously see time's been tough on these guys. And not only have we've got a figure, we've also got the concept around it. I thought it'd be quite interesting to kind of show you some of the early development into the kind of ghost characters as well. So this is really early footage. The way we build everything is so because we're a game that we want to kind of build with the community and kind of adapt as we go along. We try and build everything so it's really malleable and we can do lots of cool things with it. So I'd like to share with you one more video. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we'll show you one more video, and I think we can open up to some Q&A. Yeah. And that's it. Teasers. Thank you very much. So I think we can open up for Q&A, if anyone's got any questions at all.
Right here's good?
Yep.
All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Comic-Con.
Shit. Hello. Thank you.
Yeah. He had to be here to see this. He dragged me here. But honestly, I've loved pirates for as long as I can remember, and it's really cool seeing. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of very specifically pirate video games out there to me. Like, I've looked around and haven't seen a few, but there are a few that exist, and I wondered, do you guys have any favorites, any sources maybe of inspiration that maybe you could, any sort of favorite pirate games that you've played in the past that?
Yep. So I think, because I used to sit next to one of our designers, Mike, he used to talk about Monkey Island constantly to me. So
Monkey
it was
Island's
all
great.
the time. So yeah, so that was a big popular one. Any others?
It's the same for me, to be honest. Monkey Island is something that, back in the day on the Amiga with, I think, the 4 discs, swapping them around and stuff. That's how old I am, right? But, yeah, just an incredible world that I think was created with a great line in humour as well. And I think that's something that, for Rare Games and for Sea of Thieves, that's something we really want to bring across too. I think that's why we showed we had humour in our gameplay trailer. We thought that was important. But, for us, it's as much about what the players do to have fun and to create kind of funny stories for themselves in the game. I think that's kind of what's going to be special about Sea of Thieves. So yeah, I think we've certainly taken inspiration from kind of, games like Monkey Island and that kind of stuff in that way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, and I look forward to hitting the open seas.
Cool.
No problem.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hi.
I wanted to know if Rare's going to be releasing a collector's edition of this game, and where can we buy those shirts that have the crests on them?
It's always a possibility. But yeah, in terms of the collector's edition, yeah, it's something we'll obviously always look into. In terms of the crest, though, it's not up there, but if you go to the cfthieves.com website, we now have an e-commerce store.
Great.
So yeah, so you can just click through on the main website and find lots of things for us to loot you for.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you.
So I know you mentioned that Monkey Island was a big inspiration for this, but were there any other types of pirate literature or movies that really inspired you guys in the making of this game?
Well, I've been watching Black Sails quite a lot recently, actually, which is a really good show. And the music for that is actually brilliant. Like Bear McCreary, I think it is, that does the music for that. But I think it's just a really strong show. And I was watching an episode fairly recently where there was a kind of storm scene, right, where I think they chose to kind of sail into this really stormy weather to try and escape another ship. And watching kind of all the stuff that they do in terms of kind of how they tie themselves to the wheel and how they raise the sail so they don't get damaged, all that kind of stuff. I think that certainly kind of makes us think about our game mechanics and about how we want to kind of apply maybe lessons there. And actually outside of kind of TV or literature, right at the start of the project, we actually went and visited the Cutty Sark ship in London, in Greenwich, and the Golden Hind as well. And one of the things we learned there, which I didn't know until this kind of tour guide told us actually, is that the kind of phrase of rats leaving a sinking ship is because the rats kind of live in the bottom of the ship where all the food is. And when the water starts coming on, that's when they kind of go up to the top of the ship and you'll see them like running around on the ropes and everything. And that was kind of like, that's kind of a feedback mechanic for your ship sinking, right? And so it was like straight away we went back and put that in our prototype, like literally the next day. It was just like, that's amazing and perfect for the game, right? So that's something that you'll see in the game. If you see rats kind of running around on the top deck, then you know there's problems down below, right?
Thank you.
No worries.
So the game looks awesome, and I can't wait to play with my friends. But when my friends move on to other games, is there a system inputted where I can like put my paper down and have people sign up to join my crew and stuff like that?
So could you repeat the question? I didn't quite catch the end of it.
Is there just a way? Is there a system inputted where other people from that that aren't your friends can join your crew?
Yes, so we're certainly looking at the kind of the looking for group stuff that was announced at E3 and how we can kind of integrate that into Sea of Thieves, because it's perfect for us, because we were looking at that kind of stuff, which is about players wanting to find other like-minded players to play with, because we know that people who maybe want to go out and explore maybe want to play with the same kind of players who have the same kind of motivations, rather than us just throwing players in together and hoping that people with completely different goals and completely different kind of desires will get on. So it's how we integrate that and work with that team is going to be super important for us. But it was something we were planning to do ourselves, and then the platform team at Xbox reached out to us and were like, hey, we've got this great idea, and we were like, awesome, we can take that off the backlog and we can spend that time on something else, right? But so we're certainly looking at that, because we just know players with different motivations. They want to play with kind of like-minded players. So absolutely a goal for us. Right?
Cool, thank you.
All right.
So, we know Sea of Thieves is very extensively a big multiplayer game to play with your friends online, complete strangers also, but I was still wondering about, single-player features, if there is going to be some sort of single-player feature, maybe adventure, and if a lot of games nowadays, they have online-only servers, and at one point in their lives, they shut down, and then the game becomes obsolete and completely useless. And I was just wondering, what are you guys doing with that? Are you guys going to have like local multiplayer also, or just some sort of real concrete single player?
So Sea of Thieves is a shared world adventure game, right? And the acronym for that is a SWAG, which we're particularly proud of. But ultimately, that means that you're always going to be playing the game with other players in a shared world, right? But we know that players do, like there's some players that maybe don't want to join up with other crews, they want to go adventuring on their own in that world, and that's absolutely going to be a kind of option for players, right? So we've shown one size of ship so far, but we have prototyped different sizes of ships, and we plan to bring in much smaller ones into the experience, and they really do kind of change the gameplay experience quite dramatically. And you find maybe a couple of players who are on a smaller ship, maybe teaming up with another smaller ship, just naturally when they see a bigger one, and they kind of work together almost like, I don't know, a couple of wolves going around a bison or something, right? Yeah. It's really interesting emerging experience based on that kind of shared world experience, right? Because in our game, whenever you see a set of sails on the horizon, like the kind of magic thing is that that's going to be either another individual player or another group of players, and you don't really know what they want, what their intent is. And we believe so strongly in the vision for Sea of Thieves that's the vision for this game, right? That it's this shared world, and the encounters you're going to have with other players is what makes it so special. So that's our kind of answer to that question, really. So,
thank you so much.
No worries, man. Thank you.
Hi. So, Sea of Thieves, from what you're describing, it sounds like it's very focused on world building and like sort of making it feel like like it's been there a while and existed. So, is there like most of our games, they're like story driven to some extent. Is there like a campaign type, or is it more about that player interaction?
So there is a rich history to the world, right? Like I think having a lore in place for the world when the game is out there, for players to come in, I think is really important. And we want to leave that for kind of players to discover, because we think that's a really great activity for people. And in terms of kind of different activities, there'll be quests to undertake if players want to do that, or you can just go out exploring the world. You can just go out and hunt other people down, or whatever, right? Like whatever your kind of flavor of goal is. But for us, the stories in the game, we want the kind of players to become the legends of the game, right? So there's no Blackbeard in our game, right? There's no kind of legendary pirate called Blackbeard. There's no Black Pearl kind of type ship. But we believe that the kind of activities players will undertake, the kind of the stories that they share, the videos they create, and everything else, and how they show up in the community and in the game, will lead to like players, their ships becoming the Black Pearl, or they'll become the Blackbeard and become kind of the feared one. When you see their sails on the horizon and you recognise that ship, it's like, whoa, shit, like, oops, sorry. I was told not to swear, and I did. But like that's where the stories will come from, and we want, like as this game evolves and as it grows and as the community evolves and grows, that's where the magic is going to come from the game. That's where the story is. Like, so.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Ahoy there, mateys!
Oh, pirate. Nice.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Avast ye.
So based off what we've seen today, obviously one of my favorite things about sort of larger multiplayer games is obviously the level of control I have over my character's appearance. So I suppose my question would be, what kind of tools can we expect? And more importantly, are we going to have a wonky slider that we can choose how wonky our character is?
That's a good question.
Well,
good question.
So, unfortunately, I did say we weren't going to talk about characters today, but we know that kind of like people love that kind of thing, and we obviously want to deliver on that with kind of our players. But how that actually works out and the kind of experience, we want to kind of make it special and magical like everything else in the game. So we're still trying to work out exactly what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're building out a big kind of experience that people can just explore and kind of like be themselves in, be the pirate that they want to be.
Exactly.
Can I make this the formal request for a wonky slider, maybe? And maybe we can put it up to 11? Maybe eyeballs end up like over here somewhere?
Yeah, so I would say in terms of that kind of player feedback and that kind of player request stuff, right? Like our forums right now is the best place to go there and to kind of raise those discussions and kind of almost get support, I guess, from other players, because we really are looking at what people are talking about, what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But I'll give you one thing. Like we have a bit of tech under the hood that's called the IPG, and I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. But
that's trolling.
Yeah. But I'll let you speculate on it. But like we're really excited about the potential for kind of the kind of stuff that you're talking about, right? Because we know it's a player expectation. So
I've got a whole other deck about stuff like that.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
No worries, man. Apologies for trolling.
Hi, and thanks for the great work. I really appreciate it. My question to you today is, if a character dies in your storyline, yes, a character can die, they're pirates. Is it possible they come back as a ghost?
So I accidentally leaked something at E3 that I wasn't supposed to leak, so I can probably say it again now.
I just thought of it. I do apologize.
It's cool. but you know, player loss is one of the biggest challenges I think for this game. Not only about players dying, but like when ships get sunk and everything else. And we want to make sure that there's the right balance of loss, so that there's consequence for kind of people dying. But we want players to, you know, also to be able to continue their adventures and not be kind of turned off by permadeath or anything like that. So we have a really interesting kind of mechanic around the ghost ship, basically, which is kind of like the waiting room in Beetlejuice, if you've seen that. Where kind of dead people go to kind of queue up almost to get back into the world. But yeah, so we've got a really interesting kind of mechanic there that we're not ready to show off just yet.
No.
But it's already out there in interviews, so I feel comfortable saying it again.
It's your game. You can say whatever you like.
But yeah, so we've had a lot of fun with that because we kind of want to make death fun too, which is quite a unique approach to video games, right? But we want that to be part of the journey, part of the story for players, not be something that kind of completely turns them off and really kind of, you know, throw the controller at the screen kind of stuff. But there will be consequence and there will be loss. We're just tweaking to find the right balance, basically.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Can you give us an om nom nom?
Nom nom nom.
Come on.
Nom nom nom. Awesome panel. I was wondering about what kind of the process was like when you're creating all these different objects, you know, that have like this hand touch to them, all the artists. How do you make sure they all kind of hit the same level of wonkiness for all the different items? And was there any item that like didn't look right wonky or like?
I don't think there's been anything that hasn't been improved by making it look wonky. It's kind of the thing I do. I think I've done it in most games. So from View Pinata to Banjo Nuts and Bolts, I have a tendency to make things look worn and kind of broken. So there wasn't really anything that I said didn't. But the process of actually doing it, we really have a kind of a long-winded process of kind of concepting everything out, kind of drawing up, reviewing it, going through all the stages, kind of like doing that pass. And we genuinely have moments where someone's done this amazing kind of design, and you went, just make it more wonky, make it more wear and tear, and then they'll kind of draw over it and it will come back broken and kind of twisted. But yeah, we've slowly built up this kind of library of objects, and also all the kind of like our own instructions to how to build the world. So there's some of these slides actually were taken from a big, massive deck that's just growing bigger and bigger, which is the instructions of how to build the world. And that's one of the things that we end up doing with games, because there's so many people involved. There's so many, and it works over so many years. You have to make sure that you're all on the same page. So it is this big job of making sure everyone's pulling in the right direction. But yeah, that's part of my job. That's why I'm art director.
So you have a wonky stick, don't you? You just thrash people with it if they're not making it wonky
More
enough.
wonky!
More wonky.
But one of the things I love most about the art style that we've kind of gone for, this painted look as well, right? Like that I struggle to see the difference between some concepts and then the actual screenshots of the game now. There was a concept piece that we released a kind of a week or so before E3 of a ship kind of moored up against a port, and I literally thought it was a screenshot that we released it, and I was like, why are we releasing screenshots? We're not supposed to be doing that yet. And like tore a slip off the community team, and they were like, no, look, it's actually a piece of concept art. So I had to apologise. But like, I just love that we've got that really cool painted look, and it's come across so well. Like, you know, a bunch of the shots that Ryan showed of the kind of the musical instruments, the chests, and all that kind of stuff. You know, those are 3D asset renders. Right? They're not concept pieces, and it's really hard to tell the difference. Right? It really is. So, like, I just love that they've managed to deliver on that vision. Right.
Cool.
So,
Thank you guys.
I don't think I could make a really shiny kind of sterile game. I just don't think it's in me.
Hey there. So it being a swag world, I'm curious about the minute-to-minute gameplay in terms of when, take something like Destiny, I'm sorry. If in a game like that, you go to like a hub world and you come out and you can plan what kinds of activities you want to do, does your ship kind of act as that hub world, or are there towns you would go to? Are there other ways of interacting with the world? What's that minute-to-minute kind of flow with characters dropping in and out of the experience?
God, that's an interesting question, right? I think we, right from the very start of the project, really wanted to nail this kind of core cooperative experience of a group of players working together on a ship, and like literally our kind of roadmap was like make life on the ship fun, basically, was like one of the high level goals, because we just wanted to prove that we could. And that kind of core cooperative experience of just, player on the wheel, players on the sails, in the crow's nest, kind of all around, working together just to get kind of to locations. The first time we got that working in a prototype, we literally just sailed from like one island to another island and avoided some rocks. And it was so cool. I never thought that literally just sitting in a crow's nest, kind of shouting instructions to kind of a bunch of other players, kind of steering this big, heavy object would actually be so compelling. And it's just kind of like what Red Dead Redemption, right, which is a game that I've started playing again recently because it's awesome. Now it's on backwards compatibility. The nature of that game of kind of just riding that horse around is just so compelling, and on paper, actually just going from this place to this place, maybe that doesn't sound so much fun, but you feel like you're in the world. The sky is great, the sky dome, the time of day, you feel like you're in this kind of cowboy movie almost. And I think we've got the same kind of thing with Sea of Thieves, that you kind of feel like you're in a pirate movie, right? When you're in this pirate world. It's so immersive. And just that nature of sailing around together, like going on adventures, basically, and being able to pick a point on the horizon and just set sail and decide to go there and get off at this island, explore this island, find treasure, kind of, and maybe encounter another crew that are on the other side of the island moored up that you didn't see because they were kind of hidden in a bay or something. All of those things, that's the core kind of experience. And every time we sit down for a kind of play session, and we put it in for an hour or 30 minutes in the calendar or something at work, we always overrun. You just lose track of time in the world. That's going to be, I think, one of our biggest problems, I think, for people is they're just going to spend so much time in the world and in the game, more than they were planning. Forget that something's on the stove and burn the kitchen down, right? But that's what's so special about the experience, right? It's just this immersive kind of cooperative pirate experience, and we had that from really, really early on, and we felt so confident about it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you.
So I think we're done.
Yep,
looks like it. So thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.